liking your physique. I don't think I could want you anymore. Chilling with your girl, I'm jealous that I can't just run over and take you on the floor. And I don't wanna cross nobody. I know it's never worth the pain, but I can feel your eyes run down me, and all my sense just floats away. You got me in that dilemma. Oh. 'Cause boy, you were fine.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the stream. We're going to do some more Must Minutes, and actually, you know what? I'm going to make it a standing stream because I feel like standing up for a bit. So, last minute change of decision there. We're going to stand up. Yeah, I didn't make a Friday stream. I was a little bit busy on Friday, and then yesterday I had to run some errands. And also, we had that bug on Thursday, and I thought, hang on, I've got a few minutes yesterday, and so I thought I'd fix that off stream because it was a nightmare bug and it was a pain in the ass. So I solved it. So I'll show you that first, and then I guess we'll figure out what we're going to work on next after that. We'll jump into that. The other thing that's different is you might know that I've been practicing my Vim motions. I also spent the weekend setting up my nvim config. So we will be using nvim throughout our code today. I'm going to give it a go. We'll see where that goes. Yeah, so let's just quickly go get log. This work? How do I show you the code that was in this commit? I'll do it on GitHub. GitHub. Bleh, if I can type today. I haven't done much typing yet today, so my fingers aren't quite ready. But we'll get there. Must have been its app. So the thing that we did yesterday is we did this prevent locking up on autosave. So we had this problem where whenever we start to autosave, the editor would freeze. The reason for that was because we had this turbo stream update. So every time we autosave, we auto reload the list of speakers, the participant list, we re-render that. And when we do that, we render this turbo stream, or we used to render this turbo stream, that would then update the speakers, which would cause the editor to re-render everything from the ground up, causing the slow down the bug. Instead now, I'm only rendering this turbo stream when we save a specific speaker. So in this case, we do 2 turbo stream updates rather than a redirect. So we render a turbo stream, we replace the current partial, the current speaker with the partial, and then we also update all of the options with the new speaker's name. And so using this bit of code here, we fix that issue. Actually, the fix in the end was pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but yeah. So if I jump across and go into all meetings and meet with speakers in here, what we can see is if I go in here and give it a second to autosave, actually there's no kind of slowdown, and I can still go in here and click edit and make this Chris O, and all of them update pretty instantly, pretty quickly. This still causes the whole editor to re-render, but usually if you're in here and pressing update, what you're not doing is being in here at the same time, so you don't feel that slowdown that was happening. Fixed it. Done that. So next, what next is probably the big question. What to work on next? I think the left-hand side. In our original demo version, we had this agenda concept in the left-hand side. I want to work on that. I want to start creating the agenda controller for the meeting. I want to be able to see the agenda and also see the agenda points in that agenda. Yes. I think that's the plan. So perhaps we make an agenda controller. That's probably not quite right. Probably needs to be the agenda point controller, perhaps. Agenda topic, agenda point, agenda item controller. Maybe we'll do agenda item. So we'll go in here. One of the things I'm not quite sure about yet is how I can potentially use the Rails generator through nvim. So I'm still figuring out some of that. I think for now we'll just have a separate terminal pane open. Well, we'll do some of that stuff. We'll do Rails generate, and what do we need to generate here? Shall I scaffold it, or shall I just do it myself? I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah, so if we go to if we edit app/controllers/ we want to be in there, and we'll create a new file, and we'll call it the agenda item controller. Agenda items controller, I suppose, is probably more apt here. And then we'll go insert mode and we'll create a class which is agenda items controller. The Ruby LSP is loading up there. And so what do we want in here? Probably want an index, right? We'll also have a private, and we'll create a def set meeting, because this agenda items is going to be for a specific meeting, so we'll do that. We'll also go in here and do, that makes sense, we don't yet have that, so we'll remove that. Save that file. Let's just check, we don't have anything in Git. No, cool, that's fine. We'll also need to create a new file in app/views/agenda items /index.html.erb, and let's just do a h2. I don't yet have emmet. It's one of the things I need to install or configure for my nvim setup. But we'll do that for now. Right. So it's complaining here that I don't have a directory set up. Perhaps try and do space PV, and it's supposed to take me to the project view, but I think it can't because there is no folder here. So perhaps we just do app/views, and then we'll do file name. In this case, the file name will be agenda items. Yeah, no, that was wrong, wasn't it? App/views, and then it's must be is it D to create directory? Yes. Agenda items, and then I can go into that, and then I can do E, and then I can do index.html.erb. Agenda. Okay, cool. So we should have we need to do a root, space pf roots. I did this E, actually. Yes, didn't want to create it there. I did that wrong, didn't I? Because when I do E, I need to do app/views/agenda item/index.html.erb. That has that in it. That can now be written. Now let's just do pf. We'll go to our roots. We'll do resources agenda items. We have our meeting. The meeting has agenda items. The other thing I think we did is if I just go, one of the things we'll do now as well, if we find that agenda items controller, we'll do space A, control E, we'll open up Harpoon, save that in there. We'll also find the agenda items index, space A. Now we've got space 1, space 2. So we can quickly jump between those two files. We don't have an agenda item thing yet, so we'll do that. So, let's see, what do we have? What do we have? For meeting, should have agenda items. New action could not be found. Okay, it's interesting. There shouldn't be a new action because we're not doing that. The new action could not be found for set meeting. Okay. Oh. That's because this. I think we can just. Okay. H. D to the end of the line. Save it. Refresh. Beautiful. There's the word agenda. Phase 2. Last time we had like list.html.erb. I didn't have any padding. That's fine. I think the other thing that we need in here now then is to generate the words English, the model for the agenda item. So to do that, I think we'll do that here. We'll do Rails generate model agenda item. And what does an agenda item have? It has a title of the agenda item, the name of the agenda item. Title will do. Maybe I'll have a description, kind of optional. Perhaps call that text. Have a title, a description. It references a meeting because the agenda belongs to a meeting. What else could we do in here? We'll see. Probably okay for now. The transcript is going to have some sort of agenda item reference at some point, but that is completely separate to what we're building here. We'll go with that. And then we'll just check Git. Okay, cool. Agenda item. Space A, Control E. I think what I'd like to do is probably move that up. So if I do Shift V and then Shift V and then there we go. Perhaps doing J and K the wrong way around then. So now I should be able to go to space 3, which is the template, space 2, which is the model, and space 1, which is the controller for the thing that we're working with. So in here, what we'll do is we'll do meeting.agendaitems.all. And then we'll do that. That means we also need to find our meeting.rb file, because we also need to say that this has many agenda items. And then if we go here, we can also render agenda items. That is then going to give us another problem. We're going to run the pending migration. Agenda items. equals that. And then if I refresh this in the background, now we have nothing. Because we don't have any agenda items. So we probably could do with loading in a form here to create an agenda item. Let's render or... yeah, render a form. Didn't quite double quote. I don't know. What does that do? So we don't have a form partial. No. So space pv. We'll create a new file. We'll call it form.html.erb. And in here we will have to render a form with that meeting, and then we'll do meeting.agenda-item.build. Sure. What? How's that look? Agenda items. Do I save that? Wrong number of arguments, given 1. That sneeze came from nowhere. I thought it was form with. Let's go find a other form that we have. Form with, it takes a model. Okay, fine. The model is set like that. I know how to find forward, I don't know how to find back. Because I could find that. An MP? No. Find that. That's kind of a cheat way of getting there. I need to get better at that way of finding and navigating. Index, we'll go back, we'll go model, and then we'll find the end, and then we'll go afterwards. Close that. Okay. Then that's just gonna submit, but it can't. It'll have an error. Whoa! Why are we full screen in this? Let's see. There we go. This form does post, but we don't have a post on there yet. We're not listening for that. We're creating a new one. Okay. Let's go into here. Def create. In fact, yeah, it's just def agenda item params. Yep. And then we can go on here and go change inner brackets. And we'll do agenda item params. Don't like that. We'll get rid of that. And I wonder as well whether delete everything at the beginning of the line. I'm curious as to how the meetings controller Yeah, they call .save and then just call new. Probably better. At agenda item equals at meeting.agenda items.new. And then if it saves okay, then we do something, otherwise we do something else. Render new. There isn't a new view, that's going to fail at some point. Space CF should format this, but it kind of did, but didn't quite get it all the way for whatever reason. Okay. So we have to create a new agenda item using the params. At the moment, we're only really caring about the title. Let's just check actually the form. Yeah, we called it title. Fine. Render new, and that would then render the agenda item with any errors it had. I wonder actually if new even makes sense here. Like I think this is build, because we're rebuilding it with the new params and then we're saving it. Build the agenda item, save the agenda item, redirect to the meeting agenda items path of that meeting. What did I do? Command R. Yeah, I pressed the wrong button in the wrong place. Let's see. So agenda title. What do we want the first point to be? We'll have the first point just be matters arising. So it worked. It redirected. We now have the next problem. We don't have an agenda item partial. So what we'll do is we'll go space free, we'll go space PV, create a new file. This will be called the agenda item.html.eab partial. We'll create an li in here where we then say that the agenda item.title. One of the things that I didn't do in the original, and actually I might roll back and make some modifications to the thing. I want it to be able to reference itself, because I think agenda items can have agenda items within them. We can have a nested hierarchy there. So perhaps we'll go back to that at some point in a minute. There's our matters arising. Club admin. And obviously it's reloading at the moment. And I think one of the things I probably want to do here is have it so I can just press enter, type, press enter, type, press enter. We'll figure that out. We're doing the LIs. I think we need to wrap this with a UL. There we go. And then I think I wonder about the meeting, right? Or so So this file here. I think what I'm gonna do is turbo frame ID equals meeting agenda source meeting agenda items path. Meeting agenda items path for that meeting, and just load it in asynchronously, perhaps. It says content missing.
Listen to me speak, but just say what you want. What words will you keep? The ones that cause us harm. You assume the worst, but that is yet to come, because you caused it first.
Turbo frame ID meeting agenda to the end of the file. There we go. We'll go to the end of the file. Turbo frame. Yeah, I need to work out my auto completions as well. That's another thing that's probably okay. Slowly coming together. I've got the ability to add these agenda points. Hi, what are you working on? Hey, Andrew, how's it going? I'm working on an app where you can upload a meeting recording and have it transcribed, and then you can get minutes generated out the back of it. So at the moment I'm currently working with a podcast episode, but you can go in, create a new meeting, XYZ or whatever. You choose a file. So I'm currently working this agenda point creation part, so that's showing there, but you'd upload your file, an audio recording or a video recording of a meeting you've had, and then once you've done that, you'll have this option of generating the transcription. That sends it off to Amazon. They transcribe it for me, and then it comes back and you get a transcript which looks like this. It doesn't know who everyone is at this stage, so you have to go in and say, okay, speaker 1 is Bob and speaker 2 is Jeff or whoever, and then by that point you'll have a bunch of names next to everyone who spoke in the meeting, and at the very bottom, once you've done all of that, there'll be a generate minutes, and then we're going to use OpenAI and ChatGPT to take this transcript and then spit out a set of minutes that says, okay, here's the actions for the meeting and here's what people are working on and what's going on. So that transcript that minutes of that meeting can then be distributed to whoever needs to be distributed to. So that's what I'm currently working on. The bit that I'm currently working on is this agenda point on the side. So as part of this and more information to feed ChatGPT, I want to tell ChatGPT about what we intended to speak about. Whether we always speak about what we intended to speak about is another question and problem in itself, but generally we should say what we intended to speak about in the minutes as well. So that's what I'm currently working on here, where you can add these agenda items either ahead or after the meeting happened to help generate the minutes. Yeah, that's what I'm currently working on, and I'm currently just building out this part of the UI here. And we've just got it so that we can add these agenda items in. That's as far as we've got so far on that today. I think my next thing I'm going to do is to be able to add a delete button in here of some kind. So we'll have a button to delete the agenda item. I'm not mistaken, you mentioned using Amazon service to transcript. What's the name of the service? Yeah, it's Amazon Transcribe. AWS Transcribe. So we're using this service. So when you upload that audio recording, it gets stored in a service they have called S3, which is a storage service. And then this Amazon Transcribe service, you can tell it where it is in S3 and it will go fetch it from there and transcribe it. And then in response, it puts a JSON, blob of JSON with the transcription in there. I also checked out the Google one, but the Google one wasn't as good if I remember correctly. And I've also checked out OpenAI have one. There's like OpenAI Whisper. But I don't think when I looked at Whisper it had the ability to figure out who is speaking. So you can feed it a bunch of recording and it will work out all the words that were said, but it can't say, okay, these group of words were said by this person and these group of words were said by that person. It kind of struggles a little bit with that. But otherwise, this would have been the best one. I think this does the most accurate job of getting speech to text. But they call it diarization. That they don't quite have that yet in there. So that is something that AWS seems to be doing quite well at. So that's how we break it down into all of these different people down here. So we have a delete data. I think the other thing that I want to add in here is a destructive. True. Let's see what that does. I think that's going to be like a primary. An undefined method for agenda item path. I think I'm going to have to change this to meeting agenda item path, and then pass it a meeting, and then pass it the actually it would have to be the agenda item. Have to be the agenda item dot meeting and the agenda item itself. Yep. What's your background, Andrew? Are you coder, developer? What do you do? Let's see. Data destructive. Data type secondary. I just know there's a lot of cool services out there from AWS, Google Cloud, GCP. I think I'm living in a cave. It's hard to keep up with, to be fair. It's usually only worth checking out if you know you have a use case for them. Otherwise, you can spend forever just trying to stay up to date. It is a ongoing mission. I probably could do this quicker. I'm using a mouse like a noob. In fact, I will do this one. Oh. There we go. And we'll go to the using one of those. Pipe. Secondary. Currently working 9 to 5 as a back-end engineer in one of Indonesian e-commerce. Fair enough, that's cool. What kind of language do you use there? Thanks. Okay, so now if I delete that, there's no destroy yet. Working on some freelance projects for some additional income. Nice, nice. I'm currently doing this somewhat full-time. Taking taking a little bit of a break from the 9 to 5 and building some personal projects and doing some streaming. I'm doing a mixture of things, some consultancy stuff as well. So yeah, I'm doing a mix of stuff at the moment, which is an interesting start to the year. Let's see, where am I going with this? I need to do the destroy action. F destroy. Using Java Spring Boot and microservices environment. I don't know if that's cool. Yeah, I think that's quite common now with the Java stuff. There's a lot more microservices I find in that world. Moving into microservices. I've done a little bit of Java, but not much. Not much. Action set render item. Go edit and view for the front end side. I've not done much view. My background's mostly React. I've done a lot of React and Node.js. Usually a lot of full stack JavaScript stuff is my background, mostly, I'd say, on the engineering side of things. I also do a lot of product. Product is probably where my main background is lately, but yeah, React's probably my engineering background and stuff. But I've checked out some Vue stuff. It does look interesting. Lately, I've been trying to do less JavaScript on the front end. So I've been doing a lot of Hotwire, Turbo, Stimulus. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's frustrating. Usually when I'm having to deal with a third-party library or something, then it becomes a bit of a problem. But we don't have show, do we? So I'll just delete this word. Maybe it's. That was interesting. Edit, I don't have either. So D, Shift. Also, what's the? I'm just gonna type this again. For action, set gender item. Destroy. Yes, we have. Update. We do not have, but we will have. But it's going to complain because I don't have it yet. So D, Shift, W. Kind of did what I wanted, but the colon's still there. Annoying. Edit again, DW. Basically, I'm saying this is only for this, which makes sense. And really, I should have just done that. For that to work, there needs to be a def set agenda item. Okay. Still need to learn a lot though. It's hard to catch up. It is hard to catch up. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, it's hard to catch up. It can be overwhelming if you let it be overwhelming. I think the most important part is just to keep it fun. So, like, work on stuff that you enjoy working on. Find like little projects or little games or whatever that you want to, that kind of whatever feeds your appetite for learning. And try not to worry about what you haven't quite learned yet. And just discover stuff. I think that's the most important thing, just discovery as you're learning. I don't know about that. What's going on here? There we go. Sure, that's good advice, thanks. No worries. I think the other thing that's like important to remember as well is like no matter what level you're at, there's people that have just started that probably know stuff that you don't know, and there's people that have been doing it for like 10, 20 years that probably don't like have stuff that you don't know. Like there's stuff that people know. Like everyone comes into this industry from different angles and learn different things and have their own paths. So there's always stuff, like there's always value no matter what level you're at that you can share in whichever group or thing that you're working on. Agenda item destroy. Yeah, okay, cool. So now I should be able to delete, and it does that. Sweet. What else? Probably want to be able to update these in some way. Let's see as well, what did our demo have? Our demo view. What's going on with this HTML here? Did I have... No, it was an ordered list. That makes sense. It is ordered. Oh, that means I'm going to have a way of organising this list and sorting the list. Okay, we'll work on that as well. And then obviously the list can have sub-items. There's actually quite a lot in this list of lists of lists. So you're using Ruby and React for this project? No React. I've tried really hard to avoid React, and it's probably to some detriment to the project. There's actually not too much JavaScript in here. If I go... sorry. I'm also just learning NeoVim, by the way, so I'm still a bit clunky on the keyboard actions and moving around my project. I'll show it on GitHub. I'll cheat. Yeah, so yeah, it's Ruby, doing a lot of Ruby, and in the project I'm also using Hotwire, which is their kind of standard way of doing JavaScript now for a lot of their front-end libraries. So in my JavaScript folder, I have a couple of things going on. I have Hotwire and Turbo Rails and controllers. That's basically boilerplate setup stuff. Extension models I'll get to in a second. The core of it is these controllers, which I don't really have much right now. Like there's not that much JavaScript to make the experience you're seeing work so far. The bulk of the JavaScript really is this transcription editor, and that's the bit that's been a pain, but rich text editing is a pain in any project. I don't think I've ever found a nice JavaScript library that works well. It's just, no matter what I've touched with rich text editing, if you go outside the bounds of like a standard rich text editor, you start building something quite custom with a transcript editor that has names to paragraphs and all sorts of stuff like that, it becomes a nightmare. And I've had that in both React and this, and it's always a pain. But that's the core of the JavaScript. I have a couple of other things in here. So application.js just sets up Turbo and Stimulus. You can find out more about this stuff on like hotwire.io, and also hotwired.dev is the official website. And there's a good little video on there about like how some of this approach works. But yeah, so we have our application, hello controller. I really need to delete. It's a standard stimulus controller that I'm not actually using. The index.js just loads all of these controllers. I have two controllers that I've really written, which is the pinned element controller. And what that does is allow this kind of sticky view to work where I can scroll down. You'll notice this section on the left-hand side kind of pins to the bottom as you scroll. But then if you start scrolling up at any point, it kind of becomes unpinned, but then repins at the top. And you can kind of scroll up and down. That's on both sides. It kind of has some behavior that it manages with that. So that's what this bunch of JavaScript does. It's not the prettiest JavaScript, and it has a few bugs that I need to fix at some point. The other side of it is this transcription editor controller. We're using TipTap for that. TipTap.dev, which is built on top of another library called Prose Mirror. I have no idea about Hotwire. Is it a template engine for Ruby? It's free libraries, which actually the core of it is kind of two libraries. So there's two things. There's Turbo, and then there's Stimulus. Turbo is really the core of the stuff that makes all this work. And Stimulus is the JavaScript sprinkles that you can sprinkle on top to do the interactivity stuff, which is those two controllers are in here. I'll show you the pinned element controller, I guess. It's probably the simplest. So inside the code here, this left-hand side part, there is a div which just has data-controller pinned element. That connects that JavaScript code into this blob of HTML. And then there's a set of kind of data attributes that allow it to interact with that. So that's Stimulus. It allows you to do stuff like this. I guess this is a good example. You can write name in here, press greet, comes up with hello Josh. And that's all done with these data attributes and then this one JavaScript file. So that's Stimulus. It allows you to add these JavaScript sprinkles. Turbo is really the core of the stuff that's going on. It's a bit harder to explain, but I suppose it's what makes a multi-page app feel like a single page app. So every time you're navigating around, Turbo hijacks all of the navigation. So anytime you click a link or submit a form, Turbo intercepts that, and rather than doing a full page refresh, it will make a fetch request. So if I find Must Minutes back here and go back to all meetings, if I inspect here and load the network tab and put that in the bottom, what you'll see as I navigate around, so if I click on this meet with speakers, you'll see that 18 loaded in there with that. So it's hijacking all of these page requests and then kind of updating the DOM with the response. It can do some cool stuff with that information. So obviously, one, we're not re-downloading CSS and stuff every time and not having to have the browser do all of that. So it feels a bit faster. The other stuff that's in here as well are frames and streams. I guess are the two core things. So when I wrote, so this section on the left-hand side that I'm working on at the moment, this agenda section, when I write that, I did that in, where is that? That's meeting.html.erb. Probably this one. So this show page has this Turbo frame here. So this is a specific kind of, I guess you could consider it a web component that Turbo gives us. So Turbo sees this, sees the source, and then kind of lazy loads this section. If I went to like view source on this page, what you would see in here for the section with the you would see this Turbo frame with the meeting agenda source, meeting agenda items. If we actually went to that page, you would see this. But in here, it also has this Turbo frame with the same ID. So when it loads that, it kind of extracts the content from that Turbo frame and puts it into that other Turbo frame. I probably made that sound more complicated than it needed to be sounding. But, essentially, it's kind of like iframes without the pain of iframes. This agenda is in a frame and it can contain its own navigation context. So I can redirect from the back end and it's just all happening inside of here. There are some cases where you want to escape that, and that is possible as well. I'm trying to think. This top section here as well is also a Turbo frame, so I can rename the meeting. And if I delete, then that escapes out of the Turbo frame and redirects as the page level navigation. Same with this section on the right hand side, these are all Turbo frames as well. So there's a lot of Turbo frames which kind of can break down the navigation on the website. all of these are accessible as specific URLs, I think. Oh, I think participants. There'll be a specific it's /speakers/0 edit. So one edit. There's TEDs. But all of these are in there as separate URLs, and it's just rendering those in a specific frame. Same with the edit. If I can find that, that will be like /edit, I guess. Yeah, that was the one we looked at. Speaker/1. There's the TED. So using those, it kind of comes together. The other bit that's in here as well is if I go... what was the one I just did? I did the speaker, right? Or the participant. Speakers controller. When we save that participant, what happens is actually we return a turbo stream response. And actually I can show you that in here as well. So in the network tab, we'll clear it out. I'll click on here. You'll see it loaded edit, which rendered this. And it just renders the turbo frame there. If I get rid of the O and press update, you'll see we made that post request, and in response what we get down here are 2 turbo stream responses. And this basically is another web component similar to those frame components, where it has 2 arguments. One is an action and the other one is a target. So this is basically saying replace the element speaker_0. So it looks on the page for an ID of speaker_0 and then replaces it with the contents of this template tag with inside. So each of these LIs have the ID, and it's just going to replace that LI with that there. In fact, I probably just found a bug there, because am I putting LI inside LI? I am. So I probably need to think about that. Because every time, this is one of the weird things I suppose that I need to be careful of. Yeah, every time I do that turbo replace, it's actually replacing the speaker_0, but then putting an LI on top. So that's a bug that I probably need to fix. Yeah, and the other thing it does as well is update all of the options on the page. So it says update all. So this injects the new person's name. So every time you update the person's name on the right hand side, all of these select inputs have their options updated. Yeah, it's quite cool. It's a bit of a weird, it takes some time to get, it's a different programming paradigm, I suppose. Probably a good way of describing it than React. React is very different, I guess more declarative in a way. Whereas this, you're kind of, the state is on the server and the server is issuing updates to the client on how it should render and display. And then there are a few specific circumstances where you'll write a stimulus controller which helps manage state on the client that you'll then publish back to the server. Where this transcription editor in the center is very much that. There is a bunch of state that are now stored on the client. We're going to modify the state and then we're going to send it back to the server. Whereas everything else on the outside is very much state is stored on the server, and you make requests through regular HTML forms to update that state on the server and then get updates issued back. Yeah, I'm still kind of learning it a little bit. Like that interface between those two worlds can be a little bit more complex. This bit here where the names come through, one of those more complex points, I think. Yeah, so Masters Rising, admin, I've got those. Yeah, the other bit that we're going to do in here now, this probably wants to become OL. There must have been something else going on to have the demo OL has a class of flow. I think anytime I have a class on here, I have something in my style global base. Well, it might be in my reset thing. Remove list styles on ULOL elements with a list role, which suggests default styling will be removed. I didn't want to quit anyway. I don't really want to have to get rid of flex. I think I'll just go in here and go list. Yeah, why am I getting rid of the list style? It says display list item. Oh, that's because we're not on that, we're on here, right? List. I suppose because it's no longer a list item, it kind of... List style. Maybe it has to be display. Changing the word. Let's get rid of the class there, and then we will wrap this with a div class flex, perhaps. And then we'll and then down here I'm going to have some way of doing the... That should work now. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to need some, probably some sort of drag drop, some up down, how do I reorder these kind of thing going on. So I'm going to have to find some sort of JavaScript to do that at some point, or write something to do that. And also a way of updating this as well, which is probably clicking on the title itself. We'll leave it as it is for now, while we just figure out some of the other bits and pieces. What I will do here is add in strong, perhaps, around this. Which has a text Polaris on it as well. There we go. And then inside that there will be another OL. Li for each sub agenda point. Which I guess is probably the next thing I should figure out. It's either that or update. Let's do update quickly, because I feel like update is probably going to lead us to this point where we probably end up with a turbo frame for each Probably end up with a turbo frame for each agenda item. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to have a link to edit. Gap 2. Interesting that there's no gap between the edit there. Like the... maybe there is no gap too, because I have my own custom gap. More. I think that's what it is. Yeah. XS. That'll do for now. So then if we click edit on here, it's going to fail because there's no edit action. So we're going to have to go back to here. And we'll go def edit and I don't think we actually need anything in there right now. Obviously there's no template for that yet at the moment, so we'll go in here and create an edit.html.erb, and then we'll go and probably have to render the form. But this form needs to be for a existing agenda item. And then the other thing I want to do is come back to here. We are going to have an ad now, actually. I'm actually probably going to take a break, so I'm going to start ad early. I am running ads just to make sure that we don't have pre-rolls on, because pre-rolls are horrible. I hate clicking on a stream and then getting stuck with ads. So, and it does allow me to take a little bit of a break. So I'm going to take a quick break here and run some ads, and then I'll be back and we can continue working on this agenda item builder page screen, whatever. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you in a moment. I also have a new Beer back screen. I'm going to use that. And actually, what I think about it, I don't think the Beer back screen has the music, so I'll fix that quickly before I add the ads. No, it does. It does look like it has the music. Yeah. I'll see you in a moment. We're back. I am back. Sorry, took a little bit longer than anticipated there. Hopefully you've not been back too long. Cool. Also, I was getting hot, which is unusual. Because it's been pretty cold here. Let's have some light on because it's getting pretty dark. Boost up the light a little bit. You can actually see me. I'm here. Hi. What was we doing? Edit. Okay, fine. Perform. Okay, fine. Let's see. No, not that. No, not that. X. I want to see how like one of the forms for something else. I guess what we're doing here really well, one of the things I need to do is add that turbo frame, right? We're in a turbo frame. We need to render a turbo frame. Also, yeah, so we need to render a turbo frame. The ID here, I believe, well, it's probably easier if I just do a turbo frame tag DOM ID of the agenda item, I believe is what we're in. Yeah, okay. Which means we need this turbo frame on the agenda item as well. Probably make it this div, right? So we could just do turbo frame tag DOM ID agenda item. Can I do a class on on this? We're going to try it. I don't know if I can. And then this replaces it with an end. So we've got the each li. Okay, I probably need an equals right there, right? Yeah. The flow isn't applying. The flex. Oh, it is applying. It's just not missed something, right? Yeah. Excess or something. Okay, fine. So that does work. We will then do preview. We'll go down to form. No, preview. Edit is where we wanted to go to. And then we've got this turbo frame tag, the same DOM ID, which means if I click edit, content missing. Content missing. It's not what I expected. It's not what I expected. The edit returned nothing. Nada. So where's this? Ah, of course, same issue. Equals. That was somewhere in my brain. I was like, I need to add the equals to the other template. Forgot. Okay. So, looks a bit odd, but kind of in there. I'm pretty sure this locals, like if I go to any other edit, not that one, I have to pass the agenda item in there into this render form. And I will say that the agenda item is equal to the agenda item. Now it knows it's an existing one. When I refresh, click edit, create agenda item. This is where we go to the form itself. Agenda item. Is that how the other forms work? Yeah. I'm going to build the agenda item outside of here. It's not really the right place to build it, which means I now need to go back to perhaps here, or at least here, and add in the agenda item is meeting.agenda build. So this should still work, yes. And then this should also work, yes. That shouldn't work because I haven't yet done the controller to update. Update HA update. Yeah, that looks about right. That'll do. That'll do. And there isn't a show. Don't need a show. Not yet, anyway. Oh, we probably do actually. Probably do. Because now we're inside this. No, I think what we'll. How does DOM ID work? Okay, Rails. Can I pass it a extra thing? Yeah, like that. Edit post. Because what I kind of want to do is this ID here, and this turbo frame tag. Turbo frame tag DOM ID meeting. And then I can do agenda items. Which means I need to do it for no, that's fine. Then the form, the submit, I need to work out I've got the turbo reference up already. Let's close some of these other tabs because I don't need them right now. What we want to check is when I have a frame, I would like to have it target. Following link will just replace this frame. I can set a target on there, or I can do a data turbo frame. And really what I want the data turbo frame of the update to do, of the submit perhaps, but definitely the form, potentially the form. Data turbo frame target, frame turbo frame, data turbo frame. And then this will be the DOM ID of the agenda item meeting agenda items. It's a little bit long. Is that right? Agenda items, yes. And then no, because now the form, the meeting.html.erb, the show, this here. Let's do this as a turbo frame tag where the DOM ID of the meeting agenda items source is that. No, I don't need that. Just have that in one line. That looks a bit cleaner. That loads. Go in here, click test, edit, delete. The delete's happening inside the turbo frame, so we'll go back to pv this command space A, and then go space 3, space 4. Gets that quickly. In here, we will set this turbo frame to be also turbo frame DOM ID. Is there a way of just saying up one? Do I actually have to specify the full as top? But like, is there like a, I don't want to do the whole page. Navigation frame? No. What's the navigation frame? Surely this is the... I don't know what the navigation frame is. Never mind. We'll just do the full thing. Agenda item dot meeting. Agenda items. The bit that's annoying here is the fact that these are all on separate lines now. Let's just go back all the way to the beginning. There we go. Can't use a macro here, can we? No. Let's do this. Find a. Find. Probably could use the macro for those ones. Couldn't use a macro for this one. At least not with my current skills. Okay, cool. So that will cause this delete to reload the entire frame. So test, create, delete, reloads the frame of the agenda items. Whereas the edit one loads inside the frame. Feel like form need to cancel button. Maybe. I need some simpler, like I've set the text input field as this like default style, which is great, but actually there's a bunch of places where I feel like it would probably be better just to have like it turned to a text box that the focus is inside of. And there's a pattern here that's emerging in a few places. Here, the right hand side, the top bit that I need to figure out as a CSS like styling thing. Like there's a style thing there. So I need to kind of figure that detail out there. It's also interesting because like I feel like the text length should be consistent as well, as in it should grow potentially as you type. That bit of the UI is interesting. But functionally, we have a good set of functionality here. I think we commit. I think we save where we're at so far and then work out the next steps. So let's just see, because I feel like I'm making a mess in Git. What's going on? What have we got? We've got a few things. Let's just full screen this a second. We have a new agenda items controller. Okay. Now I'm still not really sure how to jump around in the panes here. Like I've got this pane at the top here with the Git information, and then there's pane at the bottom. I think pane is the right word for this in Vim, but how do I switch to the bottom one to quickly check these files? Because I can't see that agenda items controller. Agenda items controller. So now I've lost it. But I guess I could look at this in agenda items controller. The other thing that I could do is telescope Git status. Okay, this is a nicer view of doing the same thing. Does this also have like the diff? For the files that do have diffs, it shows you the diff. Cool, that's kind of sweet. So we have a item spec. We haven't done anything special about agenda items right now. We'll leave it as a blank test. Same with the factory. The schema create. We do have that. I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. We'll add in the functionality to add sub items next, I think. That's all okay as it is. We have our kind of index, which has a turbo frame, so we can control the navigation with inside here. That has the agenda, flow, and form. We render the edit page, which just has the form. The form, which just renders out the title field and submit. And then we have our agenda item itself, which is a list item, which has a turbo frame inside of it. And links, appropriate links. And then we have our agenda item class and our agenda item controller, which has pretty much all of the things. There's no new .html.erb. I don't think there needs to be right now, so we'll leave it like it is. Then we get to our diffs. So we're doing agenda item. We've added that into our schema. And then our roots has an agenda items bit now. Our show renders out the turbo frame with those agenda items in it. And then we render the agenda items. The relationship between the meeting. So I think that makes sense. Let's just do git commit. It would help if we git and then add these things. So let's dash 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 dash. And then we'll do git commit. And then in here, what do we do? I guess we added a new feature. Introduce new features. Yeah. And we add agenda items to meetings. I guess that's kind of what we did. And that's that. And then we can git push that up. Cool. Now there was a bug that I wanted to quickly check out, actually. Before we move on too much, and that was to do with, what was that to do with? That was to do with the speaker controller. This update all, no, the replace here. And that's because we're rendering out this speaker's speaker. No, didn't want that. Space PF. One of the things I keep tripping up over in my NeoVim config is I have space PF, which is like project find to bring up telescope. But if I miss the space and press P, it just pastes something random into my files, and that's kind of annoying. So I need to figure that out at some point. What am I doing here? That wants to be that. There we go, I'll do. So where am I going now? I want to go to this speaker partial. So here's the problem. I'm injecting this li into here, but at the same time this li needs to be here. So I kind of needed to discard the li when I'm using this in the way that I'm using it. Or move the turbo frame up a level, but that kind of breaks the semantics of the unordered list, having the LIs inside them directly, because then it would be an unordered list with turbo frames which have LIs inside of them. I don't particularly like that approach. What could be a better approach? Not sure. How do I want to approach that? The problem is here, I have these LIs and I want them to be kind of not contained within the turbo frame. So the LIs really need to be, because it also is another problem, right? Like the turbo frame makes sense being in there because you have to have the LI rendered for every single thing. This is the same approach I just used for the agenda item. It's the exact same deal. So is the problem really the speaker controller? We're calling a replace here on the speaker. Perhaps the LI should just be in the turbo frame, but then that means I have to have the LI in every single place where the frame navigates to, which kind of is a pain. I don't like that. So I think, I mean, the core of this issue is really because the list, the unscoped list, when we render the list in this way here, we're just kind of hoping that it'll do what it's supposed to do. Rails render. Rails render collection. This is a nice shorthand. I wonder if I should actually probably do something like this instead. Rails render. Can I just look at the docs? Here, this one. It'll do. Action view template render. That was the last song in that list, wasn't it? Not. Sure. What do I usually play now? I don't know. Is it not normally that? There's only 26 songs in there though. That's pretty much. I don't know if I streamed for an hour and a half. I suppose 26 songs would take me to a usual 3-hour mark on the thing, but what do we fancy? Oh, there's loads in this one. Was that just pagination? Was I just caught off by pagination? No, there is only 26 songs in that genre. Fine. We'll try this set. I have no idea what this is. We'll have shuffle on. Perhaps skip this one and see what we get. We'll go with it. We'll see. We'll see. Cool. Yes. So if we just do it for speakers for now, perhaps, and then we'll figure this out later. What we'll do here, perhaps, is we will do list.speakers there, speakers.each. Do speaker. And then we'll just render the speaker. We've done change there. Render this. What is this? Change inner, not change in a word. Change inside the quotes, and we will have. Did we have a class here? Cluster and gap small. Although I don't think that even applies because the turbo frame. Yeah, it doesn't even apply. It has to have a class though. I think role equals list. I think gets rid of the thing by default if I remember the reset CSS. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we'll go to speaker. Did I save this file? And we can delete that. We will do that. And then I believe we should be able to get rid of this div because I think what we can do is cluster and do the gap small on the turbo frame. but I'm not going to do that because I think the turbo frame really ought to just be the turbo frame. The one thing that I do want to do maybe is just replace this with the turbo frame tag Rails helper. So .id speaker. So let's just do that. Equals. Yeah, but I find that a little bit nicer. And then let's see. I set roll on this, so why is it? I think the roll list has to be on the underscore list. HTML. Perhaps the role list has to be on the thing, which makes sense. I really should have come up with a better way of moving that. Role equals list. Yeah, that gets rid of that. And then edit, press. Makes sense. Cool. That's sweet. And it shouldn't now have the li in it. So the li is only there. There's only one of them. The li is children update, but the li itself, no more li's added in, which is good. Sweet. What do we have? We can not. We don't have to worry about that right now. And yeah. Okay, and then we'll do git commit, and then we'll do insert bug, control N, control Y, fix. Update speaker. Hit push. That was a weird ending to that song. Shut that. Okay. Let's see, what have we got here? Happy with that. That's all going cool. That's fixed. Now this left hand side, I think the next thing I want to be able to do is add sub items to this, and also I need to figure out a better UI for this. So there's like a bit of design work to do and a little bit of some more coding to do. I'm still not, I can't see the UI yet for the editing. I would like to get the sub points in, but I feel like there's probably a blocker on the design a little bit. I need to figure out the design, and maybe that helps make some of that stuff make more sense. If I do the demo view, because it's not something I kind of really solved for here. Hey bro, how's it going? Hey Bish. I'm good, thank you. How's it going? Yourself? I solved that problem that I was struggling with on Thursday in the end. I did do it off stream yesterday. Between some things, but yeah. Found a nice simple solution in the end. What did I do? Speakers, controller. So before, I had the update of the options every time you autosave, but now I only do it when you update the participant and save it, which means you're usually not editing text, so stop that bug. Last call, hopefully of the day done, so now it's just hoping for no queries before 5. Nice. just like watching the clock, hoping nothing comes in last minute. Fingers crossed for you. Agenda item. Let's just do. I feel like I should move my li in the same way I did for the other file, just for consistency. That's awesome. Sounds a lot cleaner than the paths you're taking on stream too. Yeah, I like the rich text editor is going to re-render itself whenever I do that anyway. So I'm just going to avoid doing it in the instances where I don't need to do it. I'm still not kind of happy with it because it's still like there's a bunch of code that tells it to update all of these, and then this updates, and then the rich text editor, the code that's looking after that, that's outside my control, goes, I've updated now, so I'll just re-render everything. And it's like that second re-render is unnecessary, but it's also like whatever, like it doesn't cause any problems, so sometimes you just have to let it go. Here, agenda items will replace, then change. Agenda items dot each to them, and then this is going to be an li. Render that agenda item. That looks more drastic than it actually is, and that's just adding that agenda item in there, that li. Okay, cool. And those LIs are in there because the numbers are there as well. Sweet. We can commit that, I think. Refactor. Move li into out of partial. I think makes sense. Cool. Yeah, I need to figure out now the design of this a little bit, because this, while it works, is a little bit like. And it's the same here. Like I have the same. I guess what I really want is, if I just go to, I can't really open my Google Drive on screen. Let me just open the file and I'll bring it back. I guess what I really want is the kind of interaction that happens here, where this is actually an input anyway, and clicking in it allows you to type, and then it'll auto-save. I guess that's really the interaction I want to create there. Yeah. Yeah, I just noticed. Thank you, Andrew, for joining the Discord. I'm not advertising it much lately, but I haven't advertised it at all, really. But I did set up a Discord for the channel, so there'll be notifications and stuff in there when I stream. I'm still getting used to setting up some of those sort of things. So, but yeah, if you're still around, thanks for joining on that. I don't tend to get I think I've got streamer mode enabled, so I don't get the notifications, but I did just get one on my phone. I glanced at another text that I had. So. Cool. Yeah, this UI here, I think. Has someone done something similar? Hotwire, click to edit text inputs, like. Has someone done an interesting interface? We'll read on the original? No, we won't read on the original. Whoever this person is, their website does not work anymore. Recently, inline editing capabilities demand has increased a lot. Yeah, okay. What are you doing here? I have a turbo frame. This is like a, I guess this is a page. This is a contact page with a bunch of inputs or a bunch of fields or attributes, and several of them are editable, and each one of them is being given a turbo frame tag and then being rendered as a editable attribute partial. Is what's going on here. I'm just skimming through this file, this blog post here. The turbo frame tag, we're using a lot of turbo frame tag. Yeah, and then they have a model, like a form for each attribute. I would like to see, I mean, yes, that is kind of the functional result of like some of the stuff we're doing. Interesting, they've created a little helper here to make that work, that set of HTML. I don't think we necessarily need that. I don't think that's necessarily useful for what we've got right now. Yes, this is more what I wanted to see, because this is essentially like the same thing's happening, but they don't have the button, and I just wanted to see what approaches they used for kind of submitting the form. So this is the inline attribute form. It has the turbo frame tag around it, and there is a submit button in there. But then they have the on change, request submit. That's probably a good way of doing it. It's probably the easiest, rather than using some sort of stimulus control or anything. And it works, right? Like, it's just standard. So let's maybe try that first quickly for the... actually, did I do it on 4? PV? No, I didn't. Here, let's just get rid of that and then go to the end of the line. Go in here and we will on change this dot form dot request submit. So I think what's basically the deal there is you click on edit, click out, a bit cleaner, and then I can go in here and perhaps make this a class of, I always forget what this is. Is it SR only, for screen reader only? Yeah, this makes this one very confusing. Like, what is this? Because this is our create. So that doesn't really work. We need separate forms, I guess, for edit. and create because the two are very different. Yeah, the two are quite different, I think. Shift V, JJJJJ. We'll yank this out. We'll switch. Apologies, look, might have missed the last few minutes. Had to mute for a call. No worries, no problem. I hope it wasn't a complex query right before the end of the day. BV, the form, 50, 6J, yank. No, more just someone let me know they have a meeting, couldn't get to what I asked them till the morning. Fair enough. That's not too bad. Um, 6J. Let's just do anything that is agenda. We'll replace it with agenda. Does that work? Yes. The whole file. Yeah, but no. There's one place where that doesn't work. How do I clear the highlighting? Because that's kind of annoying. Okay, fine. Search for something that doesn't exist in the file and the highlighting goes away. And then if I go back to the form, I can undo all of this, right? No, that's a bit too far. How do I... yeah, Vim redo. Control R. Is it? Control R. Control R. Control R. Control R. Yes, okay, fine. Let's go all the way back. And then just undo to there. I think that's fine. And then when you click edit on here, oh, missed one. Find at X, save. Okay, cool. Now I can click on here, opening remarks 1. But then the new form is still pretty good. Right. I guess there's another thing here which is like, what if I don't want to edit this anymore? So I guess I kind of do need like a cancel button or something, or a link. Link to don't need this. And also, what's this? Edit, cancel. Show. I don't have a show yet. PV, we'll go in here and go show.html.erb, and we will just render the agenda item. Space 1. I don't have a show, so I need to add the show. Find, insert. Oh. Show. We'll go here. We'll go def show, and I'll do the same here. Yep, sweet. 18. I can click edit and cancel and come out. Sweet. I do need some sort of styling for inputs that is more minimal, I think. Also, I feel like if I'm clicking edit, I want my text to be like auto focused. Autofocus and input loading via stream, kind of the same. Yeah, is it just an autofocus attribute? Looks like there is. So I can go space PV or space 4, space PV, edit. Focus tree. Is that all I need to do? Then I click edit and I'm already in there. Is it other like stuff that I can add? Is it just autofocus? Yes, no. Yes, no. Fair enough. Sweet. Class, and we will just set a class in here of flex and XS. The other thing that I need to do in here as well is justify center. Item center, is it? By the looks of that. Yeah, item center. Sweet. I would kind of like it to autofocus with the whole word selected. Yeah, it's fine because you can just Command A inside there. I need it to stop pushing the height up. Oh, the music's quite intense. We're gonna... I'll leave it for now. This input. I'm gonna add some custom styles. I just need to kind of mess around with it a little bit. Background transparent, perhaps. See, now we lose context of it being an input. Actually, that's another thing. Like, I'm calling it on change, but actually I could just call it like on blur. Now I don't need a cancel button because I edit, I come out, I edit, the autofocus is there. So like it's only an input when it's focused. That also kind of solves my other problem, which is this form. It solves my other problem, which is that the ID of this form input has to be unique on the page, and if there's two open, you basically can't have two open if you have that going on. So I don't need that anymore. You basically just edit and leave. Is that good? I don't know. I feel like there might be an accessibility question mark there at some point. I also wonder about these edit delete. I feel like perhaps they should only show if I'm hovering on this group. Tailwind does have like some sort of like group hover, like I can call it group and then call group hyphen hover. Group hyphen hover. So this is on here. So I can perhaps have one in here which is the group. And then down, well, on each of these I suppose really it's class group hyphen hover block, otherwise it's hidden. Is that right? Class perhaps I could do that on a div that wraps around these. That might be a bit better. Div class equals hidden, and then I can also say group hyphen hover becomes a block. Flex. The gap is excess because it's got to mirror what's above. We'll indent this 13 lines. We'll find class and we'll go back a couple of letters and then we'll delete everything up to the percent sign. Where's the percent sign? And then we'll go down here and then we'll add and we'll closing div. So then all these only show on there. Not sure why that's causing everything to jump around. Really shouldn't cause things to jump around. know what's going on there. But I can delete that. Add item. I guess this actually. Well, the height there is 27.59. The height of that is 22. 25.59, but then 27.59. Because specifically, well, I don't know. One of them is a couple of pixels higher. Probably this one, because it has a whole blooming form hidden away in there. Okay. I kind of would like it to not do that. I'm gonna cheat. Is that gonna work? I didn't think it was gonna, but right, 0. It doesn't mean that this has to be relative as well. It kind of works better. It's still not quite right. I think the problem there is going to be we don't go back. No worries. If the text on the left starts encroaching to the parts on the right, then that's going to cause a problem. But I could hide that. Like I can. Perhaps it's not so much the. Maybe I just set opacity 0 or something rather than hidden. Like maybe this becomes. Didn't mean to do that. Strange word. Opacity 0. And then this one becomes. Well, it has to be flex, but maybe this one becomes opacity 1. Then they're always there. Opacity. Okay, it's 100, right? Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Word. So now they're always there, so you don't jump around in the thing. I also think this therefore probably should be like flex 1 to make sure it fills the space of the thing, which causes those to be in the same place every time. That's a bit nicer because now I can just scroll down the list and find the one I want to edit. I feel like escape could be a way of jumping out of the focus. We'll go to the edit, and actually I think we should go back to here, class flex 1. I don't like how I'm switching, flip-flopping between The form. It's actually really hard to get to that form because of the thing. We'll go in here and just do flex 1, I think, as well. Slowly coming together there, I think. The other bit I need to add is like an add button, because there might be like, okay, add. Perhaps there's a line between each agenda item, add-in items, or perhaps there's like a... What did I have in the demo? That smaller text probably could be like next item. Actions on Rails World. Actions on Rails World 1. Some point I added that. 10 minutes ago. Ooh, I'm still here. See. Why don't I use a mouse? Because I throw it. Okay. Also, what's time? 5 o'clock. 2 hours. I'm happy with that. I need to figure out this agenda creating point now, I think. PV, we'll go to the form. Add item. The fact that these heights are different as well. Mad. What's going on? I need to come through and actually do a bit of a tweak on design. Why is that going on? Like padding different? Like text height different or something? Let's see the computed differences. 16 on the padding, 12 on the padding. Let's change that. Base, furry biscuit base. That one. Input. The input has a space excess. Do I have a button? And that has a. Yeah, there we go. Change word. Yes. Okay. That creates less of a problem. I feel like the form probably need to add some sort of div that wraps these two. Ugh. Gap XS or small. Gap XS probably okay. Bass flex 1. Fills the width, add item, and then can I, this is the label for this, but can I go in here and say custom? Can I give it a custom? Yeah, fine. Changing a word. What do I want to say here? Create new agenda item, add item. And I think maybe above, not there, above here, HR, create a horizontal rule just to kind of separate these two sections. Yeah, the horizontal rules look ugly though. Base. Global. Ugh. Base. Perhaps just in here somewhere I can just go HR. So fun last part of the day, last fun part of the day, getting people to check stuff internally before sending out to external parties. That sounds like there's a story there. A very common story. What's going on there? Have we got that? The top bit should be lighter, and then actually, is the background? What is the background of this box? Porcelain 100, so you're not actually going to see it anyway at that thing. So 50, and then maybe 200 on the border top. Is that the right way around? I feel like I've... Yeah, those need to be flip-flopped. 50. And then 200. Just people not understanding error messages and whether it's been generated by the code hosted externally or something internal. In this case, it was internal, but someone was getting ready to send it out. Fair enough. It sounds like you caught it though, or someone caught it before it got sent out, which is always good. BA form. This is not the best looking UI I've ever built in the world, but I think it'll do for now, for what I've got so far. The main problem was I didn't include me in the early emails and sort of made myself one the SMEs in the area. SMEs. Feels like an acronym I should know, but for some reason I'm just getting small, medium, and subject matter expert. Okay. For some reason, like I was just getting like small, medium, enterprise stuck in my head, and I'm like, that's not the right acronym for the. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Reflections on Rails World. I think the next thing maybe is just like when I submit this, it should have autofocus to send the next one. But I don't want it to have autofocus every time. Too many acronyms these days. There are, it's true. There are far too many acronyms in the world. I don't know why Ted's going, no. Why can't we get a time for anything of the stuff Ted said? W is its own word. I think it's seeing the hyphen and thinking it's punctuation, which it is. But it's causing that to be weird. Doesn't really, like, there's something weird in there that it does not like, even when I mean, I suppose those are the letters that I've typed, right? So I think I've just done it again. I separated the. Yeah, so whenever you edit a word that... what? Rich text editors. I don't know why I've started getting bothered about this one little, not a number issue, but... Let's try and let's work out what I'm doing with this first before I move on to that. I'm quite happy with how this is looking. Like, I mean, it's not going to win any awards, but it's functional. Let's see. So I've created a new show file, which we can look at if. Do telescope git status. I think I need to create a new shortcut for that. Maybe I'll do that in a second. It might be interesting. The show renders the agenda item. The agenda item edit page is now not rendering the form. It has a custom form because it's very different to the new. Might even take this out of a partial and make it the new at some point, but it's fine here as it is for now. The form, did some styling changes. The agenda item, we added a new class, the group, made the title strong, did the opacity hover, fine, added show and edit, added a style for HR, and added in the padding, and added a new line at the end of the file. It's all quite good. Git commit. Insert design UI. There we go. But going back to before, basically our rating engine is throwing out a generic decline message as it doesn't like some of the data, but they asked the external party if they'd the external party, they would have come back with "it's your rating engine," bringing that back. So in short, kept us from looking less professional and not knowing. Yeah, exactly. Good catch. Yeah, whenever you've got like third parties like that, you always want to be able to, yeah, whenever you're dealing with a third party and you've got this two different systems that are integrating together, you always want to make sure, did we screw something up our side before going back to them? Because it's incredibly awkward when you go back to them with a problem and it turns out to be a problem you could have just fixed internally. So awkward. Let's just, while we're thinking about it, seed new vim in vim. Telescope? Yeah. I think I need to create something. I have space, which does, I don't even know, existing buffers. Actually, that's interesting. I didn't know I had that. Actually quite useful. Command 2, space. These are all the buffers that I've had open. That's the active one. I wonder if I can do stuff with these. Like, can I... okay, fine. Space question mark. I don't even know what that is. That's just old files, recently opened files. These are all the files I've recently opened. Okay, interesting. Vim.keymap.set in our normal mode. We'll do space git files. Git project. The other is a team that always says they've uploaded the update, when in reality they mean they've done the change and passed it on to another team to upload the changes. The test environment, too many silos again. That's so common. I can't even just remind, like, I've had so many conversations about, like, it's very similar, like definition of done. Like, what does it mean when you say you've done something? And just go around in circles about, like, having conversations about, like, what does it mean? You've said you've done the work, but what does that actually mean? And can we get everyone on the same page about what that means? Because, but those conversations never really. So, oh yeah, I've done it. Okay, well that means I've committed it into Git, or I've not even pushed it, or like, oh yeah, the pull request is there, but it's not actually with the customer. It's not actually with the other team. Like, it's just moved on. Someone else is usually the case. Had so many meetings about the definition of done. They always mean something else in different departments. Even in the same team, it can just mean something else. It's crazy how something like so simple can be, yeah. I don't know what keyboard shortcut to use for this, and I kind of want to see what NVIM telescope perhaps suggest. Default mappings. That's for the mappings inside of the telescope, but I want to do the built-in Git commits or something. Was it Git? Git files? The Git status. I think I'll just do PS, like project status. Yeah, I think it's basically the same. Telescope dot built in dot git status. And then if I go back to it, I have to quit nvim, and then I can do space ps. There's no state. There's no changes. There's no changes. Let's just add some lines. Just ps. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now I don't have to type telescope git status stuff. Actually, what would be interesting would be... Oh, they had some there. Like bind. What's the default mapping? Is there a way of... I can move up through the items. Yes, space PS, not GS. That space, there isn't a G, so I guess I could reserve G for like, but then I want G as go-to definition stuff at some point. So project status escape. Confirm selection, go to file as a split, go to file in a new tab, go scroll up in the preview window, show mappings for pocket actions. Hit staging toggle. Okay, interesting. So I can space PS N tab. Does that mean it's staged? And then that's not staged. I think that's what it means. How did I do that? I did that as PS. And then there was a button I could press, question mark, when I'm in normal mode. It probably doesn't help that I've only got 2 files at the moment, so perhaps that, or 1 file, so perhaps let's just do that and then PS. Okay, so that's one thing. Question mark. What else can I do? Git staging toggle, move selection, move to bottom, move to middle, preview scrolling up, select default, select tab. Okay, fine. So the only thing I can really do here, which only makes sense anyway, is staging toggle. So I can go through the files and toggle them. I could do git. Space shows me all the buffers. A couple. Question mark. Oh no. Escape question mark. Is there like a close? And that closes the window. Fair enough. I was using it a lot, so it makes sense to grab that in there. What next? What next? Okay. And it kind of works. So the form, I think, could do some improvements because I want to be able to quickly go in like type, enter, type, enter, type, enter to fill in the agenda. Yep. And then I need to be able to add sub points on the agenda. What do I do now? Do I get? Let's maybe start on that. I'm probably gonna have to call it at some point and start thinking about doing dinner at some point as well. But let's see. PF agenda item / agenda item. I think we have our turbo frame for this agenda item. I think it probably makes sense to have underneath this our OL or our kind of sub items. Because I don't think I need to do any navigation here, I suppose. If I delete an item, I'm going to have it refresh the entire thing, I think. So let's just do one for now, which is just add item. Just see what it says for each of them. Okay, add item. Oh, that's another thing I should really do, which was the form. Should have a placeholder. Topic name. There we go. I guess that's another thing I need to consider. Like, what if you go in here and do that? Special guest. If you did that, it should fail validation. It shouldn't render any errors. It should just return to what it was before, right? Highlight review. Sweet. I mean, the other option is to have some sort of default, right? So I could go to here, perhaps. FT, 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 FT. Validations are never fun. No. No, I don't want to get into validations. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Untitled. Untitled is not the right thing. Untopicked. Untitled agenda point, I suppose, is the... I mean, this is a quick fix. Like, if I get rid of that and exit... Okay. Refresh. Did I save this? Should say like untitled or something, because there's no title. I suppose there is. There's a blank. Delete. I want to say. Not around. One of the systems I test is heavy on validation when loading of the messages. So I got used to it. Anyone else that came across it was moan. Used to have more free reign. Yeah, validations are a pain. I don't know, just do that. F title. Titled. Do it there. But save you in the downstream from dealing with. That's true. It's true. There really ought to be a title for each agenda point. Let's just do the title validation actually. Validates title presence true. There has to be a title. Alright, so I've now added validation. Of course, now causes this to break. Because we tried to update and it fails. So we tried to render the edit, but the edit should have. Oh, but it's navigating in the context of the larger turbo frame. I think we just I don't think we care if it failed the validation. No agenda items. Let's go home. Oh no, don't delete that. Actually, I do want that line there. But I can delete those. Update the agenda. If it fails, it fails. So what? Either way, we're going to redirect you back to the thing. But then when you go in here and go highlights and clear it out, it goes, don't be stupid. You can't have no highlights. You can't have no agenda topic, because that would be weird. You have F, that's fine. You have highlights, that's fine. But if you empty it... Oh, but if you empty it, maybe that's the same as deleting it, right? Like, maybe that means you intended to delete. That's interesting. I kind of do like the idea there. Return destroy if params title blank. But actually, if I go in here and go, actually, I don't want it. It kind of worked. But why didn't it? Yeah, why didn't it work? It's a tricky one to call on removing the title if that means delete or not. Yeah, I agree. I kind of don't mind it if... I do feel like there's probably a problem at some point, which is if there's a bunch of like sub items in here and you delete the title, I don't feel like it's reasonable to delete the agenda item. It should at least be like, hang on, you intend to delete this. What do you want to do with the nested items? Do they all become part of the main agenda, or do they move? Like, that gets a bit complex. But I kind of don't mind the idea here of being like, actually, I don't want this anymore. Again, I don't know what this is about or why that's happening. I don't really know, like, we're not... If the title's blank, then we return destroy, which means these shouldn't happen. The item gets destroyed. I think validation is another day. That's true, you might be right. I think it dropped some frames at some point. Only 151, but it did happen. I'm really confused as to why this I clear it and go in here, delete, enter. Oh, of course, because the update isn't navigating inside of the turbo frame. It's navigating inside of the thing itself. Which means I kind of need to tell it, hey, like from the server, which turbo frame to use. So from the server I need to kind of be able to say scope turbo drove to a particular route location. No, it's not what I want. You know what? Just gonna delete that line. We don't need to worry about that right now. I agree with you. What a terrible idea. We don't need to auto delete stuff when you it just comes back. Perfect, it's fine. To be fair, like I could at some point also have, I need to build a bit of a toast notification pop-up system at some point. And I think that's probably a good place for that to go, to say, hey, like, it could just pop up. Because I feel like it reverting to what it was makes a lot of sense. The only bit is the feedback to the user that's missing. And so I think if we can have some sort of notification pop up somewhere on the screen. Who brought up the idea of validation today? Well, there is validation. You can't save it now. It's just validation. The validation itself isn't really ever the problem. It's all of the side effects of validation. Feedback, subsystems. Yep. Okay, cool. What did I do? I don't need to do that anymore. I'll do VS. Placeholder. Kind of the start of like adding sub items, validation, and the update. Cool. Okay. I think one other thing I'd like to do while I'm in here is perhaps, yes, similar to, it's on the show actually, isn't it, of the meeting. Yank 1J. Is that right? And then I can go like up. Where's the section here? Oh no, that's not the right one there. I need this tonight, Yank. Does that then allow that to be? Yeah, they stick together now. And then test. Hello. Another item. Awesome. Hey, I don't know. And then it should do the thing where. Is this because of that? Party. Steve. It doesn't quite into the right place. There's something. Oh, probably because this also relies on the height of this and pain. Yeah, it's offset anyway, isn't it, by a certain amount. So delete, 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 delete. That's actually pretty smart. It's pretty clean. Happy with that so far. Inference highlights. Sec. Confession. Don't know why I'm pulling that entire thing across. Just helps visualize it a bit more and see how it would look and work. Yeah, I don't particularly like these. Look okay. I'm not looking forward to having to build the form to edit these. And adding them in as well is going to be a bit of a problem, a bit of a pain. I've got to build another, essentially this again, but every time you click on that, I suppose. Yeah, it's probably a turbo frame there of sorts. I'll keep going for a little bit longer. I think let's just do a turbo frame tag. New. Yeah. Oh, fudge, forgot bin day tomorrow. Be right back. No worries. No worries. So I'm going to sit down because I've been standing for 3 hours currently. Tell people to press the right button. Oh. Welcome back. I'm thinking here about adding this turbo frame tag, and now I'm like actually how's this going to work? New. Just do that for now, I guess. Yeah. I also need to call do. Yeah, I suppose there's like a hidden field in here at some point. I actually want to render a link first, which is going to be add item. Sure, but not this. I don't need a class. I will need a class, but not that class. The class I want will probably be text small. See what it looks like first. Oh yeah, okay. And then perhaps something like text Alorus 800 or something. Yeah, okay. And then that's going to have that problem because I haven't added that in. Delete 2J, and then we'll paste that in up there. Let's just say that this was some item in the list. Add sub item. Don't really like the name there. Language is a little bit gross, but it'll do. The agenda item can have agenda items, so I need to work out how I'm passing that information down. Perhaps it's for a keyword argument. So like I could add in here like errand item is the agenda item, perhaps. How'd that go? If I add sub item, parent items 10. That works. I just need to add a form. Not a form. I need to add a new file. The new.html.lb. The new agenda items. And I guess what we'll do here is we'll just render the form. And we'll have to say that the agenda item is equal to agenda item, because we can build it in the controller. Yeah. Def new and build, and we don't have an agenda item parent right now because I've not done that. Oh, I've missed the chance to snooze the ads. I apologise. Okay. Well, then we'll go in here. Content missing. That makes sense because the form doesn't have a turbo frame, I don't think. Or new renders the form doesn't have a turbo frame. The new can have a turbo frame. Turbo frame tag dom underscore ID. This is going to be a difficult part, but before I go any further, I need to do the migration database. Rails G migration, add agenda item to agenda item. Parent agenda I think that's how you do it. Add reference to agenda items, parent item, agenda item true, null, false. Null can be true. Rails DB. Actually, let's just do get status from here. Unknown key agenda item. I see, okay. Let's just ask ChatGPT quickly because it's got a good reference of the docs. Rails, generate, migration. I have a agenda. A parent agenda item. Would they to be called parent item? How to yes, that's what I want to do. Yes, that's what I want to do. It is an agenda item. Parent item, references. That's just it. And then by default, Rails assumes parents. I need to go in and modify and just set the foreign key to table property to agenda items. That's a bit that's different. Yes, because this isn't don't know why that's doing that. Foreign key, change word. Don't know. Undo. Okay. And then I can go back to the here and go that the agenda item has many belongs to an agenda item. Optional true. I'll do it. Right. As I can't remember. I can't remember which I read. Like, I know what the associations do. ChatGPT, you don't need to tell me everything. Yep. Actually, you say this line, but render the blimmin' line. Belongs to parent item. That okay, fine. So parent item is the name, and then the class is the, and then foreign key. Fine. Changing a word. This is the parent item. It's optional. And the class name is agenda item. And it has many agenda items. Yeah. And I don't need to add the class name because it can figure that out by the name of the property. So that sorts that part out. And then we'll align space for our validation. Okay. That solves that problem. Now we can go back into here to our new, perhaps to our form. No, where was we going? To our thingy here. We can go in here and say, okay, we're going to build the agenda. The parent item is the params parent item ID. Does this have to be parent item or parent item ID? Probably parent item ID. And the reason for doing that was because we haven't solved that problem. belongs to a parent item. Parent item. Expected 10, which is an instance of a expected .2i. I'll just do the ID directly. I can't do the ID directly. Maybe it's this. Okay, fine. I don't need to pass that then, I can just do that. Which means when I go into new, I can render this in a turbo frame where the DOM ID gender item dot parent item new do this isn't a thing that should have a turbo frame as new agenda item 10, and that page new agenda item 10.
Listen to me speak, but just say what you want. What words will you keep? The ones that cause us harm. You assume the worst, but that is yet to come.
The agenda item is sell. New underscore agenda item. That's the difference. Chilly out here, out there. Imagine. What is the temperature anyway? Windy. -1. I mean, I'm not in Hereford, but 1, 0. Is there snow forecast? My signed in, yeah. New snow. A little bit, mostly in France. A lot in Switzerland. I think snow is due next week in the southeastern areas. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's the snow. Next 10 days. It always just misses us around here. I think we won't get it that bad. What does this reckon? It reckons 31 centimeters. 34. Over the next 10 days though, spread out. New agenda item. When I go in here, refresh, add, and then I need to add in the ability for the parent item to be in as a hidden field. So it can then be add sub item. Obviously when I delete this it clears that because it's modifying that whole section. 6 o'clock. Oh, I should probably call it there, I think. I've got a good bunch of stuff there to get going on with tomorrow, I think. That'll be the plan. I'll finish off this section. And then I think we're probably at a point where I've got a whole bunch of stuff and I really ought to kind of get the final part of the end-to-end flow working, which is generating the minutes. Because then we're going to get into a world of little bits and pieces. I still don't even have authentication wrapped around this. Billing, payments. But making good progress, I think. Spent a couple of days in this, a couple of days in this. Still got some more work to do on this rich text input editor in the middle. That's going to be a nightmare. Because there's bugs with it like this for some reason. Really doesn't like that. So I need to figure that out. Coming together though. Happy with how that's going. Let's delete XYZ. Yeah. Cool. Let's close some of these things down. Actually, let's just check quickly on the Git side of things. What have we got going on in here? Is this committable? Kind of not. I mean, the sub items, probably not. Again, I don't know why I did this now. I can do base PS. I did a migration on the database to add the agenda items, parent item column. I added the new template so that we can generate a new agenda item. I update the schema as part of that migration. I've added the pin element to the page. Probably commit this because that's not relevant to the stuff. What was it? It's tab, wasn't it? There we go. That's staged. That can be staged. That was just about the placeholder. This adds the link to the sub item. That adds the sub item. And then that does a couple of things. I can't really do the new. I could do the update. The other stuff doesn't really care about the update though. Yeah, I think I'll just commit those just to get them out and out of the way. Yeah, git commit. And what will we be doing with those? We're probably just updating the UI really. Git commit. UI and style. Improve UX of agenda items. That'll do. Don't need to think about it too much. Hit push. Cool. That'll do for today. Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably a bit earlier tomorrow. I had some things on this morning I had to deal with, but I should be on tomorrow. We should be able to get a long stream on tomorrow. I want to kind of get into some stuff, so yeah, we'll see. latest probably around lunchtime, and then I'll probably continue streaming until 5-6 o'clock or something. Cool. Thank you for hanging out. I don't have a I don't have a goodbye screen. I only just got a beer at back screen, so, and actually I just realised I do that, and you can't hear me on that screen. I don't think. Can you hear me on that screen? Yes, you can hear me on that screen. You can't see me though. Maybe I should add the camera for this screen. Yeah, stuff like that basically. But yeah, I guess I will be back soon, but not for a little while. Not till tomorrow. Notice the beer at back screen look cool. Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on that. Yeah, the lurk emote that I got is one that I got off Etsy, I think. But then I've also been making some of my own emotes as well, so slowly building up some of that stuff. Yeah. Cool. See you later. Bye.